I was receiving a message around you being lived through a higher intelligence, like a higher intelligence living through you instead of just being guided by it. So this is about embodiment. Now, I also got quite a few messages that I've gathered and accumulated across the last week or so, and I want to share them with you around what it is that I've decoded. So the first message I got was a flash tour, and it said, "We will show you the way." Now, the message I got from that was, this is guidance arriving quickly in your life without any kind of detour. It's knowing that you're not meant to overplan this chapter of your life. You're meant to avoid getting lost in hesitation or reluctancy. Help appears exactly when movement is chosen. This is about you being guided at this stage of your life and not tested. Trust the signal when it arrives. The second message I got was a new vision, and it also had the words golden era of it. So it feels like you're stepping into this golden hour, this golden era. Again, this could be the golden age frequency. We did a reading on that. And I was seeing it as a perceptual shift, not just an upgrade happening, where you are exiting survival timelines and entering value-based creation, where your gifts are no longer hidden or discounted. This is the end of you proving yourself. The golden era begins when you recognize your own worth and build from it. The next message I saw was together we build and together we empower. It shows me that the path you're on is not solitary, even though it could feel like that at times. Instead, it's like this collective memory of work or temples that were built, and they were never built alone. I feel like for some of you, you're moving from this lone mystic into the architect of some type of community. And what it is that you're creating requires shared strength in some way. You're not doing it alone. And then I saw Isis development. When we talk about Isis energy, this is the divine feminine strengthening within you and your capabilities. This is the archetype of this remembering, and she gathers what was scattered previously and returns it back to wholeness. So any parts of yourself that have been repressed or suppressed are finally being unleashed and shown upon the surface. You're in a phase of reclaiming fragmented parts of your lineage or maybe your mission, and you're recognizing that nothing is missing, it's being reassembled for you. The next message I saw was a magic carpet travel, and I also saw a trip of a lifetime too. There were two coaches right next to each other, and I was seeing this as you being lifted out of old gravity. This journey alters your trajectory. Once this path is taken, there's no returning to the old orientation. This is showing you who you are when remembered. I'm going to go ahead and pull some messages about this. It feels like some type of new vision, or perhaps like a new shared creation of some kind, or a golden cycle that's now built on truth and not fear when it comes to your life's unfoldment, the journey of your life. But it feels like a threshold in which you're crossing. So let's go and see. We're going to get Stellar Stream. Stellar Stream talks about intensity. Okay. Things that were holding you back no longer are. Stellar Stream talks about a magical unfoldment. It usually talks about a flow state that you're going to be entering into. And then Solar Flares talks about what was previously holding you back is no more, and that's now being creatively channeled into some kind of aspect of life. Let me go and find Stellar Stream for you. Just go with the flow. The stellar stream sweeps towards a place where the energy flow goes like a tidal force through the ocean. There are groups of stars that move together in the galaxy and do not depend on which way the wind is blowing, nor is there anything that can be done to stop it. The only thing that can resist it is resistance. It does not want to give up, just like when we force ourselves to walk against the wind, and the stronger the wind, the more force we need to control it. The same happens when we give up. We know that the wind may take us somewhere that our mind does not want to go. But surrendering to what is will mean that we will inevitably go with the stellar stream that corresponds to our own evolution. The energy for this is basically lowering your mental energies and rechanneling that towards the heart space. So this is about your heart guiding you. Okay, your heart is one of your biggest guides, and it's guiding you towards your chosen destination in a way that the linear mind with density may not fully understand, because where the mind again may lead to a level of hesitation, that's the message that was coming through. It's almost like a higher intelligence is moving through you, and you're not just simply being guided by it, but it requires this surrender I'm also hearing this serenity, so stepping back into like this playful, blissful experience around your life on earth and being able to see it as that. It feels like some kind of hesitation that was previously holding you back no longer is. I'll go and read density too. Again, these are like thought forms that are not conducive. Maybe something ancestrally that you had also inherited. So density can weigh down the physical body. So these are thoughts that can literally interrupt the way that this higher intelligence moves through you, and how will you actually honor that with the physical things that you do or do not apply yourself to. I'm also hearing any longer, so this could be a redirection, okay? Different bodies can carry different loads, emotional, family, relationships, and mental. It can be difficult to cope with density as the weight presses down. It knocks us over, slows us down, and sinks us. It takes more air and oxygen to make it less dense. Such is the denseness of the air that it contains too much weight for us to bear at the moment. It is something that slows us down and becomes a burden that should be more free and unfettered, with more room and lightness. This is literally about the soul's exploration in this realm and it being distorted. Okay, like you distorting the way that you see yourself as a soul having a human experience from certain belief systems that can cloud your vision, because it's so funny that we have DNA right next to density in the book. And, you know, if you know anything about DNA can be compressed, which actually begins to repress your memory around, you know, you being more etheric, more non-physical than you are physical, you branching and originating from somewhere far beyond this matrix, far beyond this system, and connecting with, I'm hearing your origin point, which knows no limits, knows no bounds, but is experiencing itself through finite form. But you are not this form. You're the timeless consciousness navigating this dimension and this terrestrial plane, utilizing this carbon-based life form. But don't mistake yourself for the vessel, for it's merely, you know, a garment. Don't mistake yourself for the garment. Okay, there's that quote that's coming through. Don't mistake. Okay, first of all, I'm seeing gratitude bleeding into every corner of your life. And also garment, don't mistake yourself as the garment, for you are the wearer. You are the one wearing this carbon-based life form. That's simply a vessel for you to navigate this terrestrial plane. It's a vessel of possibility. A dimension limited avatar. That does not mean that your true origin point has limits in any way, shape, or form. You're playing with the illusion of limitations here. So this also talks about, in this situation, the recommendation is to relax and become more aware. By dropping the weight, you can make the journey easier by allowing yourself to stop, breathe, and make space, and then continue on. The affirmation is, I drop all my burdens. So can you drop the thoughts that ask to be held, right? Can you hold those thoughts and bring those thoughts and parts of yourself more security and stability? This is acting even in the presence of fear and not the absence of it. How can you coexist with these dualistic planes within you? I'm hearing and see them more as friends than foes, which is super interesting. How can you guide that fearful aspect of yourself? How can you observe the mind and not believe all the thoughts that come into the mind? Do not mistake yourself for the thoughts, for they are designed to flow through you freely like the weather. Much like emotions, they are designed to be a sensory experience, a temporal experience. This feels like clearing up density or, you know, some kind of debris or matter that has been disrupting the way that you move through this existence, and instead stepping into, you know, the lifting of Maya, the veils of Maya, the illusion of forgetfulness, and remembering yourself within this construct, your cosmic origin point. And now stepping into Leela, this feels like divine play within this system, a creator playing inside of its own creation through this vessel. And then I'm hearing your life becomes more of an exploration and the collector of data. Okay, the collection of data. Get curious. Okay, I'm saying get curious. I'm also hearing an unfinished story, an unfinished story. I'm also seeing the curiosity killed the cat, and we have 444 on the clock, which is, you know, it's a protection number. Let me see if I can find it. You have unlocking power. Let me go and read this for you. Unlocking power. Elspeth. Elspeth, Unlocking Power, talks about seek out your inner dragons and overcome them. When we overcome something seemingly impossible, it ends a myth that we have held in our mind. We have broken the bars on a prison of belief and are now free from its limitations. This unlocks our power. The same walls of your comfort zone become the same walls that confine you. The same walls that you become a prisoner to. The universe is limitless and abundant. The only lack that exists is within your own mind. I'm hearing there are not a scarce of resources for someone amongst this planet. There is more than enough for you here, accessible to you. Okay, so the reverse meaning can be, if life knocks you down, don't be hard on yourself. Get back up and apply what it is that you've learned. This is a planeswalker who is heroically fought and killed the 𝓬𝓪𝓬𝓪. Okay. Unlocking power. So there's some type of power that you're unlocking. Now, I was also seeing the Latin origin of the curiosity that kills the cat. I don't know if you guys have heard it. For example, there's an unfinished story around, when someone says you're a jack of all trades but a master of none, but the finishing Latin origin is it's better than a master of one. So you're a jack of all trades but a master of none is better than being a master at one. So I'm just seeing like curiosity and dipping your toes in many different ocean of outcomes before you fully apply it or jump into the deep end. Because I'm hearing, I don't want to go to the deep end. Something about giving me a reason. Have you guys heard that song? I'm seeing that deep end. Yeah, it's interesting because it feels like the sensory experience that the soul can have. The finishing saying for curiosity kills the cat is curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. A rejoinder suggesting that while being too inquisitive can lead to trouble, finding the answer or satisfaction can resolve it. Yeah, this is the full quote of 1912. It highlights potential dangers of excessive prying or investigation as seen in cats getting into risky situations, but satisfaction brought it back adds a positive twist, implying that knowledge gained or satisfaction is worth the risk, or that one can recover from a close call by finding the truth. This is so interesting. So curiosity killed the cat, but it's almost like information that you're gaining as a soul, having a human experience, and the etheric knowledge that you're acquiring and attaining, and I'm hearing retaining, is actually allowing you to bring something back with you after this experience. That's what I'm seeing, especially as you drop the burdens, right? Like I dropped the burdens from things that do not allow me to fully answer the soul's call for exploration in this realm. And it just feels like you're honoring that in some way. So yeah, it's almost like opportunity is bringing you back, or information is bringing you back to yourself. That's so interesting. Don't you guys think that's interesting that like the second half of these sayings were kind of cut off and they all have a positive twist on them? So there's something around an unfinished story. How interesting. Your story is unfinished. Let's see. It kind of reminds me of when a character in a movie or a book kind of ends on a cliffhanger and then the story continues, but you know that when a season ends, there's a good chance of them making a new season because of how much of a cliffhanger it was on. That's what I'm seeing. There's some type of mystery around how your story is going to unfold at this stage of your life as this version of yourself. This is so interesting. There's a mystery around your story and what that looks like now, because it's so different from the story that was previously read about you. or the timelines in which you had access to that were accessible because of the resonant frequency or octave that you were operating within. And as that shifted and ascended, you're now accessing more conducive timelines for yourself and opportunities that are finding you at this stage. This is super interesting. The unfinished story. What do you need to know around this unfinished story, right? We have unlocking power. Let's also get another message like this. We have turning to stone and then also distraction. Okay, so distraction talks about siren calls that you'll find along the hero's journey. So it kind of depicts the devil card in many ways. And then you have turning to stone, basilisk, and siren. Let me go ahead and read this for you. Turning to stone. So with turning to stone, basilisk, you have basilisk represents the most challenging elements of your inner life. The ones that fear change and cling to a set dogma. Stay flexible and flowing like water. Don't let your thoughts and emotions harden into stone. So again, this is not identifying yourself with your thoughts or your emotions. You are the awareness behind it. If you've become petrified, take time to question your beliefs, no matter how cherished. These idols were set up long ago by a less mature version of you. To put them aside, you must assuage your fear of your younger self so that you can create a new reality. This is so funny. It feels like becoming the version of yourself that your inner child or younger self would look up to. It almost feels like the version of yourself that you're becoming is a role model for who you are there. Because I feel that, I don't know about you guys, but if I met myself, like if I met younger me, she would be in awe of who I've become, for sure. Like, for sure. 100%, no shadow of a doubt. I would think that I'm so cool. Like, literally, if I saw myself then, how I'd be. So there's something around you recognizing that version of self, but that version of self not recognizing you. There's something that you've integrated, like an aspect of self that you've integrated and healed and actually become whole with, and you don't see yourself as separate of it. And that version of self continues to express itself through you. But you're not mistaking it as your whole, just an octave. And then we have distraction with the siren. So this card says, many are the distractions as you go on your journey. Your goals may change, but understanding what you value and what lights you up is paramount. Every hero needs a North Star so they can find their way back to the path. Yeah, if you were scattered, see if you were surrounded by people who were taking away from your true goals, and if you're lost in the pursuit of frivolous things. If so, stop, breathe, and simplify. Get back to your truth and get back on track. There's something around coming back to your intention, because your intention is going to be something that anchors you and grounds you in this season of your life and this mission. Because I'm hearing things are about to speed up for you significantly, and where it is that they felt quiet, I'm hearing the quiet areas of your life are going to get very, very loud very, very quickly. So sirens have magical voices that can charm even the most prepared heroes. So this is something that you will inevitably stumble upon or find stumbling upon your path. And can you continue to be the captain of your own ship and chart the course of your destiny? Okay, there's something around sticking on with some type of continuum, and that North Star will be your guide. Now, when we also talk about the North Star in the fixed stars, you have West, which is Antares, endings, Uriel, new beginnings, which is East. The North Star is actually Regulus, which is so funny because it brings us back to the heart. Regulus rules the heart space as Archangel Raphael, and then you have the South, which is the former Halt, which is the mouth of the fish, is Archangel Gabriel, which is the throat. And then North Star, following your heart. Again, this is all coming back to your heart. Your heart is going to keep you true. Your heart is going to continue to lead you. Okay, and this feels like the siren is almost like the logical mind or the linear process, the analytical mind. I'm hearing the one that critiques, but your intuition is going to be the first thing that comes through. The second thought is the doubt. So I'm going to love any of you guys right there. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We love to have you around. Personal reading details also down below. Also check out Otter Spirit if you're looking for some high quality 880 grade jewelry. And until next time, bye.